Roman architecture. Roman architecture was unlike anything that had come before. The grandeur of their buildings, though, was largely external. Buildings were designed to be impressive when viewed from outside because their architects all had to rely on buildings in a post and lintel system, which means that they used two upright posts like columns with a horizontal block known as a lintel laid flat across the top. Roman architecture differed fundamentally from this tradition because of the discovery, experimentation, and exploitation of concrete, arcs, and vaulting. As a result, the inside of Roman buildings was as impressive as their exteriors. Materials, methods, and innovations. The Romans utilized a volcanic stone native to Italy called tufa to construct their buildings. Also, its off-white color made it an acceptable substitute for marble. Marble was slow to catch on in Rome during the Republican period, since it was seen as extravagance. But after the reign of Augustus, marble became quite fashionable. Augustus had famously claimed in his funerary inscription, known as the Res Gestae, that he found Rome a city of wood and left it a city of marble, referring to his ambitious building campaigns. Roman concrete was developed early in the 2nd BCE. The use of mortar as a bonding agent in ashlar masonry wasn't new in the ancient world. Mortar was a combination of sand, lime, and water in proper proportions. The major contribution the Romans made to the mortar recipe was the introduction of volcanic Italian sand, or also known as pozzolana. The Roman builders who used pozzolana rather than ordinary sand noticed that their mortar was incredibly strong and durable. Brick and tile were commonly plastered over the concrete since it was not considered very pretty on its own. But concrete's structural possibilities were far more important. The Romans also exploited the opportunities affordable to architects by the innovation of the true arch. A true arch is composed of wedge-shaped blocks called bozor with Temple of Fortune. Roman architects. We don't know much about Roman architects. Few individual architects are known to us because the dedicatory inscriptions, which appear on finished buildings, usually commemorated the person who commissioned and paid for the structure. We do know that architects came from all walks of life, from freedmen all the way up to the Emperor Hadrian, and they were responsible for all aspects of building on a project. The architect would design the building and act as engineer. He would serve as contractor and supervisor and would attempt to keep the project within the budget. Roman cities were typically focused on the forum, a large open plaza surrounded by important buildings, which was the civic, religious, and economic heart of the city. Surrounding the forum, lining the city streets, framing gateways, and marking crossings stood the connective architecture of the city. The porticos, colonnades, and arcs and fountains that beautified by a Roman city and welcome weary travelers to town. The wealthy could own a house or domus in the city as well as a country farmhouse or villa, while the less fortunate lived in multi-story apartment buildings or insulae. Even in death, the Romans found the need to construct grand buildings to commemorate and house their remains. The Romans built aqueducts throughout their domain and introduced water into the cities they built and occupied, increasing sanitary conditions. A ready supply of water also allowed bathhouses to become standard features of Roman cities, from Timgad, Algeria to Bath, England. Quite often, in the imperial period, grand gymnasium bath complexes were built and funded by the state, such as the baths of Caracalla, which included running tracks, gardens, and libraries. Entertainment varied greatly to suit all tastes in Rome, necessitating the erection of many types of structures. Greek-style theaters for plays as well as smaller, more intimate Odeon buildings like the one in Pompeii, which were specifically designed for musical performances. The Romans also built amphitheaters, elliptical enclosed spaces, such as the Colosseum, which were used for gladiatorial combats or battles between men and animals. The Romans also built a circus in many of their cities. The circuses, such as the one in Leptis Magna in Libya, were venues for residents to watch chariot racing. The Romans continued to perfect their bridge building and road laying skills as well, allowing them to cross rivers and gullies and traverse great distance in order to expand their empire and better supervise it. Republican period. Republican Roman architecture was influenced by the Etruscans, who were the early kings of Rome. The Etruscans were in turn influenced by Greek architecture. Drawing on such deep and rich traditions didn't mean that Roman architects were unwilling to try new things. In the late Republican period, architects began to experiment with concrete, testing its capability to see how the material might allow them to build on a grand scale. Imperial period. The architects Cerberus and Celer are known, and they built a grand palace, complete with courtyards, dining rooms, colonnades, and fountains. They also used concrete extensively, including barrel vaults and domes throughout the complex. What makes the Golden House unique in Roman architecture is Cerberus and Celer were using concrete in new and exciting ways, rather than utilizing the material for just its structural purposes. The architects began to experiment with concrete in aesthetic modes, for instance, to make expansive dome spaces. Nero may have started a new trend for bigger and better concrete architecture, but Roman architects and the emperors who supported them took that trend and pushed it to its greatest potential.
Early Christian architecture. Early Christian architecture. The early Christian basilica became the stage for the elaboration of the Eucharistic liturgy with its increased emphasis on processions. Attention was also directed in the 4th century church to the veneration of spots associated with the Christian martyrs. This led to the development of an alternative function in forms of Christian building. This type of building is called a martyrium. Considering the importance of the veneration of saints through the cult of the relics in the medieval church, it is important to see the link back to this practice in the early church. Constantine commissioned martyria in the Holy Land, including the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. In placing a temple inside. The Rotunda of Anastasis was built on the spot believed to be where Christ was buried. Atrium, open colonnade court, in front of and attached to a Christian basilica. Narthex, a porch of the church, colonnade and proceeding to the nave. Nave, located between the chief entrance and the choir, term which refers to the division of the nave wall into various levels. In the early Christian basilica, the nave elevation usually is composed of a nave colonnade or arcade and clerestory. Apse, vaulted semicircular or polygonal termination. Recess, sometimes rectangular but usually semicircular, in the wall at the end of a Roman basilica or Christian church. The apse in the Roman basilica frequently contained an image of the emperor and was where the magistrate dispensed laws. In the early Christian basilica, the apses contained the cathedral or throne for the bishop and the altar. Transept. In a cruciform church, the whole arms set at right angles to the nave. Note that transept appears infrequently in early Christian churches. Old St. Peter's is one of the few examples of a basilica with a transept from this period. The transept would not become a standard component of the Christian church until the Carolingian period. Chancel, located in the east end of the church where the main altar is located. Aisle, parallel to and divided by tiers per column form, the nave, the choir, or the transept. Ambo, where the gospel and epistle was read.
Byzantine architecture is the architecture of the Byzantine Empire. The empire gradually emerged as a distinct artistic and cultural entity from what is today referred to as the Roman Empire after 330 AD, when the Roman Emperor Constantine moved the capital of the Roman Empire east from Rome to Byzantium, or New Rome, was later renamed Constantinople and is now called Istanbul. The empire endured for more than a millennium, dramatically influencing medieval and Renaissance era architecture in Europe and following the capture of Constantinople by the Ottoman Turks in 1453, leading directly to the architecture of the Ottoman Empire. The basilica is a dramatic change from those built until that point. It is basic basilica plan with central nave and one aisle on each side. The faithful gathered in the aisles of the ground level, and the galleries on the second level in the central space was reserved for clergy and the emperor. This central space is crowned by a magnificent dome with one smaller semi-dome at the west side and another semi-dome at the east side. The dome was connected to the square space by pendentives, an architectural innovation at the time. These are adorned with seraphims. Only two of them are original, and only one shows his face after being uncovered during restoration. Hagia Sophia is a church turned mosque turned museum in Istanbul, Turkey, but expanding on the simplistic statement, so much has happened to it over time that it has become one of the most exquisite examples of art and architecture of two very different cultures, Christian and Muslim. It means Saint Sophia, but not Sophia as a name like Sophie, but meaning wisdom in Greek. In other words, the true meaning is the Church of Holy Wisdom, dedicated to Christ as the second person of the Holy Trinity, and the reason. While in Turkish, it's called Hagia Sophia. The interior view of Hagia Sophia, showing Islamic elements on the top of the main dome. The history. The structure is actually the third church, though all three of them have been located on this very spot. The first Hagia Sophia was likely commissioned by Constantine I the Great, the first Christian emperor of Rome. During the East Roman Empire, Hagia Sophia was the epicenter and main church of Rome and the Christian cult in the city of Constantinople, the Vatican of its day. It was inaugurated in February of 360 during the reign of Constantine's son Constantius II. Time went on and that first basilica was destroyed in riots. The second church was commissioned by Emperor Theodosius II and was inaugurated in October of 415. It was destroyed in another riot in 530. Stone remains of the basilica ordered by Theodosius II, showing the Lamb of God. A few remains of this second basilica can still be seen on the west side of Hagia Sophia, near the current entrance. Then Emperor Justinian I decided to build a new basilica, larger and more impressive than the previous two, with the help of physicist Isidore of Miletus and mathematician Anthemius of Tralles acting as architects. Many precious materials were brought in from all corners of the empire, including some columns from the Temple of Artemis at Ephesus, and a huge dome was designed to crown it. The new Hagia Sophia was inaugurated on December 27, 537, 5 years after the work started. The Orthodox Patriarch of Constantinople had its seat at Hagia Sophia and it became the place of Byzantine ceremonies such as emperor coronations. The walls were either covered in marble or covered in lavish mosaics of the most exquisite color and craftsmanship. Throughout the years, the basilica suffered many damages due to earthquakes, failures of some of the structures, and riots. In 1453, Sultan Mehmed II of the Ottoman Turk Empire took Constantinople and turned Hagia Sophia into a mosque, calling it Hagia Sophia. Almost every Christian feature was removed or plastered over new Islamic features were installed. Remember, Islam does not allow the use of icons or human representations of saints of any kind. Instead, floral and calligraphic motifs are used. During this time, the mihrab, minbar, and 4 minarets were added and it remained as the main mosque of Istanbul until 1931 when it was closed. In 1935, Hagia Sophia